Hey y'all, it's me, Alex. Today I have another episode of the Alchemist Knits Knitting Podcast. Yes, the last episode I posted was 8 months ago. I'm doing great. But yeah, I have some things that I want to talk about knitting-wise, but just in case you're new to this channel, hi, hello, my name is Alex. My pronouns are they, them. I really enjoy, makeup and fashion and knitting and creative and nerdy stuff, and I'm kind of emo a little bit, and I love horror, and I have several cats who might make an appearance. By several I mean 3. So I wanted to share some of the things that I've been working on. I don't have necessarily the most because I've chosen not to include the things that I have put in my palette and purl videos because I've done a couple of those and those are very project focused. So this is going to be some smaller stuff, but yeah. Anyway, let's get started with my finished objects. So firstly is a gift knit that I still need to weave in the ends, but this is going to be given to its recipient very, very soon. Okay, I had to check my Ravelry because I had forgotten the pattern name of it, but it is the Homer Cow by Caitlin Hunter. I made this for a friend of mine from work. I made this actually around Easter. I finished it, and so I've been trying to just hold on to it. Let me show it to y'all firstly. I am kind of obsessed with how this turned out, and this was very, I guess this is what Rachel of the Night Sky Knitting podcast, this is what you would call potato chip knitting, because you just kind of couldn't stop once you started making it. So I've been holding on to this for 2 months at this point because I expected this to be a larger project, but then I ended up finishing it in 2 weeks. One of my friends from work, he's our associate pastor, and I work in a Methodist church. Figure for those of you who don't know. And in the Methodist church, your pastors get moved around to different churches, and so this upcoming Sunday is his final Sunday. So I wanted to knit him something because he and I came on to the church around the same time. And yeah, I thought it would be nice. So a couple months ago, I asked him what his favorite colors are. And he's like, black, gray, and then Oxford blue, which is a very specific color of blue. But I'm glad for specifics. And then he asked, why are you asking me that? And I was like, oh, no reason at all. You'll find out in a couple months. And yeah, I have a very, very hard time with keeping secrets when I have made someone something. I guess that's sort of the benefit of me living with my partner. I can just be like, hi, I'm making you something. You're gonna see me knitting it all the time, and I'm really excited for when I can give it to you. I'm very much that person, when I get someone something, even if I buy their birthday gift or something a couple months in advance, if I see them on a regular basis every single day, I'm like, I want to give this to you. So this has been really hard. I have been sharing this with various friends and stuff just so I can get the satisfaction of saying yes, I made this, and I can't hold it in because I see him every day at work. So it was kind of okay, this is a secret that I have to keep. But I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I thought that this would be a good way to use up the yarn, and honestly, I might make one like this for myself. I'm trying to use up some of my scrap yarn and just kind of really dig into my stash right now, especially for the summer. So I think I could make myself a really funky, colorful version of this because this is very neutral, and I think this was very pretty and it was fun enough that I would definitely want to make it again. It's gonna be nice and soft and cozy. Why do Methodists have to move their pastors in the middle of summer? This is a very bad summer gift, but this is a very good, friend-specific gift. So, yeah, I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I'm thinking, I have a couple of large projects that I have coming up on my needles. Well, one large project right now and a couple more in my queue that I really want to, sort of do. I think I might need to intersperse that with a couple of smaller projects, just for the sake of, having the satisfaction of getting something done. So yeah. Speaking of gift knits, I also recently knit my partner Casey a hat. I'll try and pop a picture of it right here. I forget the pattern name of it, and my phone is what I'm filming with, so I will just pop up the name of it as well when I pop up the hat. I knitted it all in some cotton yarn because they are working at a camp this summer and they wanted something because they have a little bit thinner hair and they didn't want their scalp to like get sunburned, which I completely understand, and so far they've been loving it. I think I'm gonna make them another one, but perhaps make some modifications because they said that it was getting a little bit loose. So I figure if I do a couple fewer stitches, then that'll be just fine. But it was just like an easy all garter stitch sort of hat. I did it in like this sort of like nice white gray gradient, and it was just some yarn that I got from Joanne from their K+C. It was their essential cotton yarn. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out as well. I'm currently making something else in cotton right now, and I think once I get that done and once I knit them the other hat that's like slightly smaller, I'm gonna be done with cotton for a bit because it's gonna be great and like nice and lightweight, and I love having more like knitted items for the summer. But also I don't enjoy working with cotton all that much. It kind of sucks. It's very, very annoying in my opinion. Like I think cotton can be very, very soft, but it's not quite as like stretchy as other fibers, as like working with wool or something like that. I'll kind of share a little bit more about that once I actually get to my only work in progress. Right now I only have one. Okay. But yeah, that's my feelings on cotton yarn at the moment. And then my last finished object, this is what I'm the most excited about. This is what is most recent. I finished this literally Monday night. You will probably have already seen it up on my Instagram. And this, where is the top of this? There we go. This is the Ripple Halter by Jessie Made Designs. I made this, I believe, in a size 1X, and I would 100% make this again. So the yarn I used is from Wool and Vinyl, and this is their Classic Rock Sock in Brain Stew, which I got. I went to Frederick Fiber Fest for my birthday. I went with Casey and our friend Danny, who is also a huge crafter, and they came up to visit for my birthday, which was super great. We also went to an Orioles game, which was wonderful. So like two of my favorite things, well, three: friendship, fiber, baseball. So yeah, that was really nice. But anyway, I kind of decided, I got inspired by Carsley's Handmade with her special skein knit along, because even though that was like announced right after I bought like 2 skeins of the Brain Stew colorway, I knew that if I did not use that yarn soon, it would be something languishing in my stash. Just because I am a huge Green Day fan. I love music. Honestly, Wool and Vinyl is one of the coolest yarn brands in the world for that, in my opinion, because I love like their very funky, edgy, music themed colorways. And they do a lot of like pop punk and punk rock music inspired things. So I knew that if I didn't like participate in something like that and use this up, it would stay in my collection kind of forever. So, and yarn is meant to be used. So I made this out of it, and I'm really, really happy. Like I said, this is the Ripple Halter by Jessie Made, and I like how it turned out. I definitely think, one, I'm definitely gonna knit this again in some form or another. Two, when I knit again, I'm gonna make some further modifications. So I know that it is meant to like show a lot of side boob, which is wonderful, and I kind of started the armhole up like a couple rows higher than it was meant to be, because like I'm fully like supportive of the side boob agenda for other people. For me personally, it seems a little dangerous. Like, you do you. I'm not gonna like rag on anyone who decides to do that. In fact, I'm very supportive and I enjoy seeing it. For me personally, like, I can see about a million different ways that that would go wrong. And even with me making the modification to bring it up a little bit higher, it was still very, very, very low for my taste. So I think next time I will modify it even further in that regard. It was pretty easy to do because even though it has this beautiful, like, there you go, this like beautiful bust shaping. It is largely a like 2x2 rib, so that was very easy to sort of modify and replicate, which I really appreciate about Jessie May's patterns in general, is just like being able to make the modifications that I need in order to make it fit me a little bit better. Like, her designs have a lot of very beautiful details, but they're not so complicated that if you need to do a little bit of change in there to make it fit how you want to fit, it works just fine. So I'll definitely make that change. I also think I'm gonna go in needle size down, because I didn't gauge swatch. I never gauge swatch. I know, I'm awful. But the fabric is like a little bit loose. And even with like how the body part fits, I expected it to be like a little bit more like tight to my body. I think if I just like go down a needle size, then that will probably solve both of those problems. So I'm thinking of making this in some sort of like solid color. I have a lot more projects that I want to get through before I like make a second one of this, but definitely going to make one more. And I do really like how this looks. I love this like colorway because I think it's very like edgy and interesting, and it does capture, I feel like, the essence of like when you think of brain stew. That's about how you would imagine it to look like, in my opinion. And I like it also because it does have like the nice kind of aqua-y teal-y, which I rarely knit with, especially for myself, just because I don't like having anything that is close to my hair color up top. So I don't necessarily knit a lot with that color, but since it is light enough, I feel like it doesn't look like I'm trying to be too matchy or anything like that. So I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. Okay, so let's talk about my one whip, which is the Road Tripper tee. I just lost several stitches on, hold on. Okay, crisis averted. But this is the Road Tripper tee. I am knitting this for my partner Casey, because I saw the pattern. Actually, this is another Carsley handmade inspiration, because I saw that she had made one for herself and I thought that was super cute, but not something that I would particularly wear. If you haven't seen the pattern, it's like a cute little t-shirt with like a little button Henley sort of detail, which I really like, and I wanted to knit something a little bit more simple. I saw that pattern and I really wanted to make it, and I think that's one of the benefits of having a partner with very, very different style from you, because obviously, like, I like stuff like this, you know, and I think that's great, but I also know that I can, when I'm knitting for myself, I can very much like get into a box, and sometimes I don't necessarily want to knit something super complicated, which is where a lot of my patterns tend to lean into. So when I knit something for them, I can sort of play with different color combinations and like styles and stuff, which I like, because I have really been enjoying sort of like the juxtaposition of like a very simple design with a very bright and funky sort of colorway, and then at the same time a really like intricate color work design that you would anticipate being very bright and colorful, but making it neutral or more like earth tone, which is very much where Casey's style sort of is. So yeah, that's just like something that I'm thinking about and playing with more. I have a lot of things that I'm making for them this year, which I'll get to. Yeah, so I haven't made it super far. I started this like Monday night right after I finished the Ripple halter. I was watching Nope with my friends who were visiting because I am a horror fan and they are not, but they're trying to watch more horror. So I was like, here, let me show you my favorite movie of 2022. So I was working on this while watching that. And I'm really enjoying the pattern, and I think I'm making decent progress. I really can't wait until I get to the point where I can actually join it in the round. I'm trying to like work it as fast as possible just so I can get to that point. But I feel like I'm making good progress on it. I do have a couple of things that I am noticing with it. One is a fiber thing. Like I said, I'm not enjoying cotton yarn as much as I sort of thought I would. I hadn't really worked with cotton a whole bunch before this summer, basically. And I really like wool so much better. And I might knit with cotton for accessories in the future, but I think that this is going to be my last full-on sort of like only cotton garment. I'm interested in trying the Knitting for All of cotton merino, just because like I've heard very good things about that. And well, if it's blended with a wool, then maybe that'll sort of help give it like the same stretch and give that I really enjoy out of a wool yarn. That's what I'm sort of thinking. This is the Loops and Threads Eco Cotton, I think is the name of it. That is one of the like Michaels and House brands. Literally a skein of this is like $1.50. And Casey just really liked this color, and I think it is like pretty soft. It is pretty nice. It's a cotton acrylic blend, but all of the cotton, I think, and even the acrylic, I think it's all recycled material. So like, I think that's super cool. This is in the color Sage. I think it's a very cool and good quality yarn. I think that's gonna be like just fine, but I'm just not enjoying the knitting process with it as much because it's just not quite as stretchy, you know. It is a very, very stiff sort of fabric. I am enjoying the fact that it does kind of stick to itself a little more. So in the times when it does slip off my needles, because that's the thing, it slips off my needles really quickly, but it doesn't stretch very well, and it doesn't also, and it sticks to itself a lot. So I guess that part is sort of a good thing. Like when I lost my stitches earlier, I could easily sort of pick it up and have things like not go to hell in a handbasket super quickly. So I appreciated that aspect of it. And I'm also noticing with the pattern, I definitely had to size up with it. I'm knitting it in a 3X, which is not normally the size that I would go for, because Casey and I were about the same size. We're about a 1X each, but this one was meant to be worn with a lot of positive ease, or like a decent amount. Casey likes their stuff more baggy than I do, and in order to sort of get the measurements right and stuff, I definitely had to go up to a 3X with the sizing. I think this goes up to like a 4 or 5, so there's still definitely room to grow from there. But that's something that I've noticed a lot with a lot of knitting patterns, is I think that there's a big push for size inclusivity, which I think is really wonderful, and obviously we need that. However, in many cases, like the sizing still runs small, so it might be up to a 5X, but in reality, like I would still be closer to the upper end of like the natural sizing there. Maybe people just like size things differently, but I think that that's just something to sort of be mindful for. Otherwise, this pattern is very, very good and very like really, really well written and easy to follow. So I am appreciating all of that. I just like noticed the sizing was a little bit different from what I'm used to. I'm also used to like knitting from plus size designers for my projects. So I know that probably coming to a straight size designer, like the one time I knit a petite knit sweater, which was last fall, I liked how it looked, but it definitely wasn't designed for my body type. These are just some observations. This isn't me like trying to like bash anything or anyone, but just like I do definitely notice some different sizing and different shaping depending on the designer, but I am enjoying this pattern. And I think the color is so nice and the fabric's turning out nice. I just wanted to give you a little close-up of that. Yeah. Okay, so that is literally my only work in progress at the moment, and I'm kind of liking that. I might cast on something in addition to it, just so I can perhaps have a wool project to sort of go on, because I'm noticing as I'm knitting this, just because I have to do a little bit of extra work with the cotton, that my hands are cramping up a bit quicker than what I'm used to. So I'll just sort of see how that goes. Okay, so I would like to get into a couple of acquisitions. I mentioned that I went to Frederick Fiberfest for my birthday, and I stopped by, so I got two things. I got the yarn, the Breen Stew wool and vinyl yarn, and then I also went to the Yarnsmith, and I picked up this little mini skein. This is in the shade Electric Company, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I love a good pop of like neon. I've been doing that a lot in my makeup. You won't necessarily notice it with this look, but I love doing something very neutral with a pop like this. And one of my things that I'm thinking about for this year, I saw a pattern for a fingering weight linen stitch scarf, and since I've been knitting a lot of things in fingering weight, I'm going to be coming off of it with a lot, like towards the end of this year, I'm probably going to have a lot of like fingering weight minis or like scraps and stuff. So I figure if I get a couple of mini skeins to just like intersperse with those, I can make a really, really nice scarf. Yeah, so that's what I got. And they gave me a tote bag. Yeah, it's really nice. That's kind of my whole thought process with it. This is really, like, really soft and squishy. Let's see. This is 92 yards. Let me just see if there's anything else you might want to know about. This is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, so your standard sort of sock base. And then one more thing of cotton yarn, because Casey had requested a couple of hats, because I think that's like smart to sort of have. If you're going to be wearing beanies all the time, you should probably have a couple to like rotate through. And so this is from the same brand that I made the other one out of. We went to Joann's together, because I feel like in terms of like craft stores, Joann's does have a superior yarn quality, like in their house brand. Their K+C brand to me feels really, really nice. And this is their essential cotton in white sands. And so this is the other one that I'm going to be knitting the same hat for Casey in. Yeah, and I think it's very, very soft and really nice. I think that this definitely feels better than the loops and threads one. This is more shiny, but this one is also more expensive than that. Let me just see. Is it? Yeah, this is just 100% cotton, so I guess that this just doesn't have like the acrylic in it. And this is really soft. I'm still I've enjoyed this cotton more than the other one, but I still feel like I run into some of the similar issues of like not quite as much give, and the shaping isn't quite as nice as what I would get with the wool, but it is what it is. Like, that's just the nature of the fiber. And if I just have a couple of small pieces of like cotton and stuff, that's like not bad, you know, if I just kind of stick my cotton to like making hats and stuff. I think that's fine. And then the last acquisition, my local yarn shop that I go to knit nights about once every 2 weeks. They are like every week, but I just like can't always get out of the house after work because I'm just so tired. Not that my job is particularly strenuous. I'm just really lazy. Anyway, we have this little bin that they keep, and it's basically people will drop any of their like extra yarn from projects and stuff that they're not going to use anymore, and you can just get it out of there for free. And one day when I was there, Melissa, who owns the yarn shop, by the way, it's Lovely Yarns here on Falls Road in Baltimore, Maryland. I just really need to shout them out because they're the best. But Melissa was like, yeah, this is getting like really full, so if anyone wants to like take any, please do. So I got this. And I got it, it's like, I don't know what it is. There's no label or anything on it. But it's like this orange mohair. And I got it because it reminds me of my cat, Jacques, because he is also orange and fuzzy. And I don't know what I'm going to make out of it. I think what I'm going to do, closer to like the winter time, just make a really bright orange fuzzy hat. And yeah, I think that would be really nice. That's what I've got out of this. It does feel like really, really soft. Obviously this isn't like enough to make a larger project out of, but I think if I like not do anything too terribly detailed, but just like a big fuzzy hat, and then I'll take pictures with Jacques in it too and be like, hey, I look like you. And then he'll be like, Mom, that's really weird. Because, you know, cats can talk. So, talking about knitting plans for the rest of the year, I already kind of said that one. Casey has requested that, so I knit them a sweater every year for Christmas, or I have the last 2 years. We don't have the sweater curse. I think this sweater curse kind of only applies to straight couples. That's my suspicion, or the fact that I started knitting them sweaters when we had been together for like 5 years, and also the fact that I made them aware of the sweater curse. Like, they fully know. Like, no, if I knit you a sweater, you're not allowed to break up with me right after. We also like each other. We love each other, in fact. But yeah, they've requested that I knit them a hoodie for Christmas, and they've made me extra happy because they requested that I make it in teal, which is very, very exciting to me. Because as I stated previously, I don't knit a lot in like actual teal because I primarily make stuff for myself, and I don't like anything on the upper half of me that is too close to my hair color. But they had requested a nice dark teal. And Andrea Mowry, I think back in like probably March, April, she released a pattern for a hoodie, and I really like Andrea Mowry's stuff. I haven't like knit a lot from her, but everything she makes I think has like really beautiful little details, and I really enjoy her knitting podcast. I think I'm definitely gonna make that one for Casey. In fact, I think I just need to make a lot of Andrea Mowry stuff for Casey, because a lot of her designs are very much up their alley in terms of style. So I'll be knitting that. And then I have a plan for myself to knit the partner pullover from Lydia Morrow. I made Lydia's Rumble Raglan last year, which is one of my favorite things that I have ever knitted. And I made it in some funky wool and vinyl colors that I got at the Frederick Fiber Fest for my birthday last year. I'm just making this a tradition, okay? But I've been wanting to make like sort of a version of that, but not in fingering weight. And that one, they released in DK. I forget if it's DK or worsted, but it's definitely thicker than that. And what I like is it's like $20 for a pack of sweater patterns where they teach you to like do different sort of geometric designs, and I enjoy fun and funky geometric designs. I have some yarn in my stash that's just like a bright sort of limey green that I had originally bought for another sweater, started that sweater, and then realized, oh yeah, I freaking hate doing cables. I didn't bring this down because it's so boring, but I bought some more black, like regular old-fashioned black acrylic wool blend yarn that I figure if I do sort of those together, I'm thinking of doing like the wavy version that they have, but I figure if I do those together, it'll be like a fun little sort of Halloween type sweater, but one that I can sort of wear year round, because like it's June and I look spooky. This is just kind of how I am. So I think that that would be a very fun addition to the collection. Lydia Morrow is one of my favorite like designers. I think that they design for like plus size bodies very well. Like I feel like everything is very well shaped, and I really, when I was knitting the Rumble Raglan, I really didn't have to modify anything. And I really like when I don't have to modify anything. And also their style and my style very much align. So that makes me happy. So those are sort of my two big knitting plans. And obviously a little hat, maybe a different, more colorful version of the cowl. Still need to weave in my ends, that's embarrassing. You know, making some fun things like that. And there's one more sweater that if I can get it in, I really want to knit for Casey. But it is the Hide and Peak sweater from Max the Knitter. I really enjoyed the Stranded Dye Works podcast, Jude Harper on YouTube, and he made a video that was like sweaters that I want to make as a trans man, and since Casey is transmasculine, I was very interested in sort of like a lot of those patterns. Like I bookmarked all of them for Casey as just like things I should be knitting them at some point. But the Hide and Peak sweater looks so fun. I love like the triangles and the color work, and I also have a few skeins from my stash that I could probably incorporate into the color work and make it look really nice for them. I'm not sure. I'm leaning towards either a base of like navy blue or like a deep orange, like an orangey brown sort of color. I'm not 100% certain which one I want to go with, just because I feel like a lot of the things I've knitted for Casey have been in the green blue sort of range. So do I want to kind of continue on that, or do I want to do something different? I don't know, but that one looks so fun, and I've been wanting to make something from Max the Knitter for a while, because I really do like, I like the look of his patterns. I just haven't gotten around to making anything. I think that that's all for knitting plans, acquisitions. Is there anything else that you'll need to know? I'll get some shots in because all three of my cats are like sleeping right now, and I think that that would be a great way to like end this video. Is if you've made it this far, you deserve some very adorable cats sleeping. Okay, so let me know what you're working on down below. I would love to chat with y'all, or at least like, you know, maybe we can get some inspiration from each other. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If this is your first time here and if you would like to have future times here, subscribe. That would be lovely. And yeah, thanks so much. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye. Jacques, my charger cord got stuck under you. It looks like you're charging. Are you charging, buddy? Hello. Goose, can you look at the camera? No. Ivy. You are not interested in participating.